Hi, this is Anil and welcome to the video tutorial for the Learning Light on C++ programming. So in this tutorial we're going to learn about the inherited virtual attributes and also the hierarchical nature of the virtual functions. So when a virtual function is inherited, its virtual nature is also inherited. This means that when a derived class that has inherited a virtual function is itself used as a base class for another derived class, the virtual function can still be overridden. So in other words, we can say that no matter how many times a virtual function is inherited, it remains virtual. Alright, in this tutorial for the demonstration purpose, let's create a class called person. So here before my main function I'm gonna write class and person, and we're gonna have a introduce method in this class person, and it's gonna have the public access specifier. So it's gonna be void introduce, and it's not gonna take any parameters, and it's just gonna say hi from person. Alright, now let's end this line. Alright, now we have a class person which has a public method which just prints hi from person. And the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create a class which is gonna inherit from this class person. So let's say it's gonna be class student, and it's gonna be public inheritance, so public and then the base class name which is person in this case, and here in this derived class student we're gonna override this method. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it here, and I'm just gonna change this one to student. And here when we have a virtual function in the base class, when we override that method or the function in the derived class, the compiler is gonna call the derived class method when we access that using the base class reference. So here you're gonna make this one virtual in the base class, so it's gonna be virtual void introduce, and here it's gonna be only introduce. Alright, now to demonstrate that when a virtual function is inherited, its virtual nature is also inherited, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another class which is gonna inherit from this class student. So let's say it's gonna be class graduate student or G student, and this one is gonna inherit from this student class. So this student class, which is a derived class from this class person, is gonna be the base class for this G student. So it's gonna be public and student. And now in this G student class also we can override the method, the base class method. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it here, and we're gonna say hi from graduate student. So graduate student. Alright, now we have a class called person which has a virtual method called introduce, and then we have a class student which is inheriting from the class person, and also we are overriding the virtual method of the base class in this derived class, and we have another class called G student which is inheriting from the class student, and here also we are overriding the base class method. Okay, and the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna build a method which is gonna take the parameter which is of type person, and then we're gonna call the introduce method. So it's gonna be void, and let's call it as who is this, and it's gonna take a parameter of type person. So it's gonna be person, and it's gonna take the reference, so and symbol, and let's say p. And in this function body, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call the introduce method, and that's it. Alright, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create the object of this class person, object of this class student, and also an object of this class graduate student, and we're gonna pass that to this who's this function. So it's gonna be person, and let's say Anil, and then it's gonna be student, and Anjali, and it's gonna be graduated student or G student, let's say Rashmit. Alright, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna call this who is this function, and we're gonna pass these objects. So it's gonna be who is this, and I'm gonna pass Anil, and I'm gonna copy this and paste it 2 more times, and I'm gonna change the object reference, so it's gonna be Anjali and it's gonna be Rashmit. Alright, now we have 3 classes called person, class student, and class graduate student, and we have a method which is gonna take the parameter of type person and it's gonna call the introduce method. And now I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this. So now, since this introduce method in this class person is virtual, when we use this who's this and pass the object of this class person, it's gonna call the introduce method in that person only. That's why we get hi from person. And then we passed an object of this class student. At that time, what happened is, since this introduce method of this base class is virtual, the method in the derived class is called, and that's why we get hi from student. And in the third case, since this graduated student inherits from this class student and this student inherits from this class person, this virtual nature is also inherited. And that's why, when we pass this graduated student object to the who is this function, and we refer that using a type of person, because of the inherited virtual attributes, we get hi from graduated student. So from this example we can say that the virtual nature of the functions is inherited. And the next thing that I want you guys to teach you is about the hierarchy of the virtual methods. So here, let's say this graduated student class is not gonna override this introduce method, so I'm gonna delete this. Now when we pass an object of this graduated student, and here when we call this introduce method, since that method is not present in the derived class, the method of the base class is called, and the base class of this graduated student is student, and that's why which prints hi from student. So just to demonstrate that, I have removed the introduce method in the G student, and I'm gonna save this, I'm gonna build and run this, and now you guys can see hi from person, that's from this person object Anil, and then hi from student, which is from this student object Anjali, and then we get hi from student, that's from this graduated student object Rashmit. And because of the absence of the overridden method in the graduated student class, the method in the base class of this graduated student, which is the method in the student class, is called, and that's why we get hi from student in the third line. So this is it, guys. This is about the inherited virtual attributes and also the hierarchical nature of the virtual methods in C++. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like my Facebook page, and stay updated with the latest videos that we make, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.